I miss the carpets. You'll know what I mean. If you haven't watched the episode, go back and watch the episode. This is Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 9, and this is your review. I have never been more excited for an episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to share it around. It's the only way the channel grows. We've just reached 400 subscribers. I'd love to get that up a bit more. So, let's just start off at the beginning. The beginning, we learn what is inside Jack's door. Deanna is very, very disturbed by it, and it is literally a Borg cube. So we know instantly it's about the Borg. From that point on, Deanna runs out. She's sort of afraid of Jack. Picard sort of realizes, and they find out that the Ironic syndrome was actually a biological assimilation technique. I don't mind this idea. I like that it's the Borg because they are a TNG villain. I like that clearly it's Alice Krige coming back as the Borg Queen, and I'm sensing probably the Borg Queen from First Contact, so that'll be pretty damn cool. I really enjoyed the Borg elements of this episode. And we get a call back to Star Trek Picard Season 2, where we find out that all the Starfleet ships use Borg technology to communicate with each other. Everything is connected, so it causes a bit of a problem. And we find out that Jack can communicate with other people for some reason, of which we find out is basically the Borg organic parts in Jack that came through Picard's sperm/DNA allow him to control other people. We find out later in the episode that it controls people whose cerebral cortexes haven't reached full maturity. So it's everyone under about 25 basically can be assimilated. Their DNA is changed whenever they enter the transporter, which is interesting because that's another negative of the transporter use. Maybe we'll go back to a non-transporter used future. And it's a really interesting play. So in terms of Picard, this episode, Picard feels really down because he's passed something on to Jack that he doesn't want. Jack starts controlling officers and escapes and goes flying off to somewhere. He can hear he's going to someone. And as soon as he arrives, a Borg ship appears, he is on board, and we hear a voice talking to him. Now, I was sitting there going, okay, who are they going to get back? Obviously, the Borg Queen from Season 2 died. It's not Girardi, it's not Susanna Thompson. It sounds very much like Alice Krige, even her inflections on the way she talks. So I'm pretty sure we'll see her next episode. Another guest appearance this episode was Shelby. I don't know who the actress was, but Shelby from The Best of Both Worlds is leading the parade for Federation Day. She is in command of the Enterprise F, of which we get to see on display here, which looks fantastic. I do agree with the bottom looking a little bit plump, but otherwise I really, really enjoyed a lot of the Federation ships. There was a bit of cutting and pasting I noticed, but otherwise it was really good. Everyone's meeting for Frontier Day. Picard and that are on their way after Jack leaves, and they try to warn them, and then they're cut off. Then we find out that the Borg obviously can only assimilate people under 25, and that's when the entirety of the Federation is taken over and partially assimilated by the Borg, which I don't have a problem with, but they've got one episode to get out of it, so it better be a 2-hour finale episode. Because that's the only way. I do like the interactions. Data has a few funny lines. Like he goes, I hope our death is quick. I like the all-round humanness of Data. And the humor's a bit more natural. Deanna says, obviously, I've never been so happy to see more wrinkles. Just some amazing little moments for them. So the big things for this episode. So obviously, we see the death of our beloved sassy captain, who finally says Captain 7 of 9 to Jerry Ryan, which I thought was a nice moment. I got a bit sad at it. We're certainly not getting a Titan legacy with him on board, that's for sure, unless he magically survives at the end. I don't mind him dying. It means that our main cast aren't all safe. I certainly believe that Patrick Stewart's probably going to die next episode for Jack. So we see the back of the Borg Queen's head. We obviously don't have our Titan Legacy series. A lot of people are going to be pissed about that, but who cares? I think Seven and Raffi have stayed on board the Titan, so is Seven just going to protect her from now on? It's an interesting play. And then we cut, so all of the new starships are connected via this web. Now, back earlier in the series, we may have noticed the Starfleet Museum. And I'm like, they're going to, when he said back in the earlier series, that there was something in Hangar 12 or 14, I knew it was the Enterprise D. And I knew that it was going to come in use later on. It's pretty easy to get. All of those ships I forgot about the ships being connected. So when the ships got connected, I'm going, it's simple. They're going back to the Starfleet Museum. It was a pretty easy guess if you sort of clicked on a bit more than I apparently had. I really enjoyed that we're going back and then we see the Enterprise D in there with marks on it from when it hit the forest when it crashed. He says they used parts. There's a nod to the Enterprise E and something happening, and Worf says it's not his fault. So that's interesting. I really enjoyed seeing the D, and I'm going, they've built the bridge. And the next cut is them walking onto the D bridge. There's a sentimental feeling. Even for me, like when he goes turn on the lights and the lights come on really slow, and I'm going, are they retconning the lights on the D? Because the D was very light. And we got lots of beauty passes of the Enterprise D bridge, all of the crew looking really happy to be there. And it was a really nice thing going.
Yes, sir. She's ready. Engage.
So all of the Federation starships are now taken over by the Borg. Jack is with the Borg Queen, and Picard and the crew are on the Enterprise D heading to Earth. How does one ship that's outdated by 30 years? We don't know. Now, I want to say this. I'm not a fan of nostalgia berries, but I am a fan of the Changeling stuff was more or less pointless. And that kind of made me a little bit like, really? You're sort of trying to side scan us? But the Borg stuff is, from what I can see, perfect. And it's almost a sequel to First Contact, which I liked. The Borg look very TNG, not First Contact in a way. Sort of a mixture of the two. With the big tendrils from Picard Season 2. So the funny thing is about this episode is that you need to have watched Season 1 and Season 2 to get the end of Season 3, which I like, because I think retconning it so much and just going, you don't need to know, is pointless. But I do enjoy the way that they've built to this moment. If you've paid attention to all the threads, they all line up. The Changeling stuff does seem a little cheap. Vadic seems like a non-villain now, because the Changelings are helping the Borg. And the Borg are the major villain, and it just seems silly. That's just in my opinion. I enjoyed the episodes. I'm not big on the nostalgia, but seeing the Enterprise D and seeing them on the bridge of the Enterprise D really helped me feel like this episode was a bit more, and all of that waiting had paid off in a way. I'm interested to see what you guys think. Do you think Vadic was just sort of pointless to have there at this point? Like, the Changelings are gone now, from what I can tell. It's just the Borg. It just seems a little bit like we've had 8 episodes of a series of which you only really needed to pay attention to the Jack stuff. Now we've got the Borg. And I'm excited for the Borg finale. I'm excited for Alice Krieg. I'm excited for Patrick Stewart to see Alice Krieg again. I'm excited. It would have been, they seem to ignore Jerry Ryan knowing the Borg Queen as well, which is, they did last season. I'm just like, what? But otherwise, I really enjoyed this episode, probably more than the last couple. I enjoyed the the build-up, the suspense, the ending with the Enterprise D, the whole crew being there. I enjoyed everything about it. I do think it takes away from everything else we've had in the series. But what do you think? Make sure to write in the comments, share, and spread it around. This has been Trek Trav, and this has been my review for Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 9, Vox. I'll be back next week for the final episode. I might even do something a little bit special, or I'll just record it. We don't know. Come back next time.